I have an update on Ken and a lot of chit chat. I miss you all. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. Well, today I'm going to give you another update on Ken and just share some of my feelings and oh my, the many life challenges that we all face at one time or another. So the last time I did an update on Ken was, I think, a week ago, maybe 10 days ago. And he has now been in Savannah Memorial Hospital in the ICU ward still for 23 days. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine being in a hospital for 23 days. He can't get out of the ICU unit. We were so hoping that he could go to a regular room, but no, hasn't happened yet. So there's a lot more stair climbing that I have to do each day. They moved him to the 4th floor. He used to be on the 2nd floor. And oh my gosh, the amount of stairs you have to climb to go up 4 floors. There's 2 sets of stairs between each floor. So you can just imagine, my legs feel like rubber, but I'm sure they're getting very strong. He's still in that unit where it's intense ICU, like they get a lot of gunshot wounds and things like that. So it's kind of locked down. You can get there by the elevator, but you cannot use the stairs. They are locked. So I have to wait for someone to come down. When I get there, I call up to the floor. I tell them I'm waiting at the outside door and could somebody please come down and let me in. And sometimes it takes maybe not too long, 5 or 10 minutes, but when you're standing outside and it's in the upper 90s, it can feel a lot longer than that. By the time I get up to his floor, I feel like I'm going to end up being a patient because I'm exhausted. Anytime that I want to take a break, go down and get a coffee, or step outside to get some fresh air, I have to find someone that will take me down the stairs. And then when I get back, I have to wait and find someone who will come down, unlock the doors, and let me back up the stairs. Ah, I've never been in a hospital where any stairwells were locked and you could not get in or out. Unfortunately, he is not well enough to be moved to the regular part of the hospital where, I could use the stairs freely and could get in and out on my own. So I believe in my update video of a week or 10 days ago, I let you all know that they removed the chest tubes. He had 2 chest tubes in, and that was a great sign. And there are improvements, but not enough to get him out of the ICU unit. Now, they have removed the feeding tube through the nose. He still cannot swallow. So he has had nothing to eat or drink by mouth for 23 days. Oh my gosh, I just I just can't even imagine it. But when they do the test every day to see if he'll be able to, he always coughs and chokes. He could aspirate and it goes into the lungs instead of down the esophagus. So that's bad news. Since they have tried for all these days, well, 3 weeks now, to see if they could get him to swallow and pass that test and get that feeding tube that goes up his nose and down into his stomach. Since that's all failed, they talked to me and said they needed to put a permanent feeding tube into his stomach so that he could get more nutrition. This involved a surgery. So he had that surgery, I think, on the 10th, and today is the 14th. So that's 4 days ago. They attempted it once and it was a failure. They could not complete the surgery because the way they do it is they go down your throat and into your stomach with a camera, and then they take a look around and decide where they want to put the feeding tube. They make a little incision in your stomach, and then they can feed the tube through. Well, because of all the inflammation, acid, he has gastritis from the inflammation. They couldn't see well enough where to place it, and they couldn't take that risk. So they stopped that surgery. The next day, they did the surgery again, but they did it a different way. And this was directly through his stomach. So again, they made an incision. They stuck the camera through into his stomach. They could get a clear view of where to place it. And thankfully, that was successful. The next challenge would have been to see if he could tolerate the stomach tube feedings. Some people have reactions to it, some don't. You can get vomiting, diarrhea, nauseous, cramping, things like that. Well, thankfully, we're on day 4 now, and he is tolerating the stomach tube feedings. So that's a good thing. And that tube is no longer up his nose and down into his stomach. So that's a good thing. It will take a lot of therapy, like speech therapy, swallowing type therapy, that kind of thing, for him to eventually learn how to swallow and swallow safely. Now, this permanent feeding tube, they call it a PEG tube, PEG tube. Some people have them and they're on them for life. Some people for years, but it can be removed early. I mean, it doesn't have to be in there for life or years. Once he can learn to swallow and get nutrition through his mouth, they can remove that tube. So that is our hope and our prayer, that the therapy will really work and help, and eventually he'll get to that point where he can eat with his mouth. I have been in constant contact with Encompass Rehab Hospital here where I live. It's just a mile from our home, and that's where he will be transported to. But they couldn't let him go with everything that was going on with him. You have to be sick enough to get in Encompass to qualify for them to take you on, but you can't be as sick as he has been. So once they got the feeding tube in, Encompass would accept him with the feeding tube. They wouldn't with the nose tube, but they would with the stomach tube. So the other day we were just thrilled, thinking, oh my gosh, he can get out of here. I can quit climbing all those stairs every day, and he can get on and begin some therapies. Well, unfortunately, they discovered another problem. So we thought he would be going to Encompass today. However, they've been doing a lot of CAT scans and x-rays almost daily to make sure there's no fluid buildup and just, having part of his lung removed because of the damage from the accident and everything. Well, he does have fluid in his chest and around the lung on the right side. That's the lung that they had to take a part out that was damaged from the 9 broken ribs down that side. So they can't let him go. They can't let him out of ICU. He can't go to Encompass until they do something about the fluid because that could lead to pneumonia. And it also causes breathing problems. So yesterday, the doctor came in and told me they needed to do another procedure. I believe it was called a thoracentesis, but what that means is they need to put a tube in to the chest where the lung is to drain the fluid out. So it's sort of like a chest tube again, but a smaller one, not 2 big ones like he had in the beginning. And once they get that fluid drained out, they'll test it to make sure there's no pneumonia, bacteria, blood, all that other stuff, that it's just normal fluid. And he'll keep the tube in until they drain it out. Then he'll be able to move to Encompass Rehab Hospital. I asked her, why is the fluid building up? I mean, why is he getting fluid? And it's a combination of things. Again, he's just flat on his back in bed. He can't walk or, do anything like that. And number 2, anytime they have to remove a body part or a part of a body part, like in his case, part of his lung, it's the body's natural response to fill that space with body fluids. So I guess that's common. Well, he was supposed to get that done yesterday, which was Saturday. Today is Sunday the 14th. And they were just booked. They couldn't get it done. They had him slotted to get it done yesterday, but time ran out. So now it's today they're going to do it. So here's another delay. So after they get that done today, God willing, it gets done today. As long as everything goes well, the fluids are clear and don't indicate a problem, then hopefully within 2 to 3 days after that, then he can go to a regular room and then right on to Encompass. So that is our prayer and our hope, that this will be successful and that he can get out of there and move on. Other than the PEG feeding tube that's inserted directly into his stomach, and then the drainage tube he will have after today to drain the fluid off his lungs, he's not hooked up to anything else, any other tubes. Of course, he still has that IV thing in where that's how they administer all the different medications and everything. He is still having hallucinations and some delirium. I believe they called it sundowning, and it's also called ICU delirium. I think I talked about that in the last update, which is common. He is groggy during the day and then awake at night, and just his whole circadian rhythm is off. Hopefully that will get straightened around also. And just being able to be worked with every day, no matter how minimal they have to start off with his therapies and his rehabilitation. Moving his body is going to help a lot. Just learning to walk again. He's just too weak to take a step right now, as we all would be if we have been laying in a bed for 23 days. But those muscles will come back with a lot of hard work and determination. And I will tell you, this guy has so much determination. I know he'll be successful. He wants it so bad. He talks about it. When can I go to Encompass? When am I going? I want to start the exercises. And he truly does, because he exercises every day anyhow. He goes to the gym every day. He walks every day. He's in fantastic physical health, except, of course, since the accident, all these problems. So I know he'll be able to do it. And we just need to get him out of there. So I ask you all, please, if you will take a few minutes and offer up a prayer for him, that this uh, drainage tube thing that they're going to do to get all the fluids off his lung comes back clean with no problems. It drains successfully, and later on this week, he can move to Encompass. Your prayers that you all have been giving to Ken and our family are just amazing. And I want you to know sincerely from my heart how very grateful I am. Those prayers are working. I mean, this guy has come a long way. It's shocking that he has even made it, but he has. And it's all due to your prayers. I know several of you out there are prayer warriors, and I just praise God for you and thank you so very much. So that's the update I have on Ken. Hopefully, when I do one next week, I'll be able to tell you that he is in Encompass Rehab Hospital, that we only have to drive a mile to get there, and that it's an all one-story building, so I don't have to climb any stairs or bother anybody to get me in and out. Let's all pray for that. So, of course, being in there for that long, you don't know what day it is, what time it is, what month it is, or anything. But let me tell you a short little story, something very ironic. Yesterday, he said, "Do you know what day this is?" And he was saying this to Dave. And Dave said, "Yes, it's, what was yesterday? It's Saturday, July 13th. He said, "No, do you know what day this is?" And at first, Dave didn't get it. And then he remembered. And he said, "Yes, Ken, it's the 1 year anniversary of Kathy, my sister, and Ken's wife of 56 years. How did he know that? When he doesn't know what day it is, what date it is, nothing. How did he know that? And why was that the first thing he said when we entered the room? It was a rough day for sure. But again, there's no time to grieve and mourn and weep and do all the things, because we have to keep our focus on Ken and getting him healthy and strong and back on his feet and back to life. And that's what we are doing. So I don't know how long he'll be at Encompass, but when he leaves there, then he will come to our house again, like he did when he had his heart attack last October, and he will stay with us until he is able to be on his own. And then he can go to his house, which is only 5 houses away from my house. So I want you all to know how very much I miss you, how much I miss doing my videos. Oh my gosh, there were so many videos I've had planned in my head and written down on paper. I have questions I have to answer that you all asked me, oh my gosh, probably a month and a half or 2 months ago. I have things to share with you. I want to get back to our good conversations on important topics and subjects that affect us as aging girls, the old girls. So that will be coming when I can start back on my regular schedule. Now, I do have a video that I just have to do a short introduction and closing of. It's mainly video of when my daughter-in-law and grandchildren and a bunch of family were here. I think it was the week before last. I think I mentioned that we weren't here because, of course, we're at the hospital every day, but they had fun and we spent time with them in the evenings. So I wanted to do that little video and share some family news that is both exciting and bittersweet for us anyhow. So I'll try to get that up towards the end of this week. Then I'll check back in with you at the end of this week and give you a quick update on Ken and let you know if he made it to the rehabilitation hospital. Well, I think that's enough chit chat. My mouth is so dry. My voice is weak. It's tired because you talk all day, you're giving updates to family, you're talking with doctors and nurses and making arrangements, and oh my gosh, a lot. And just from talking so much and not getting much sleep, my voice by the end of the day, it goes out on me. I mean, it just sounds broken down. So please forgive that. And now I think it's time for me to shut up and save my last words to give you an inside beauty tip. My inside beauty tip today comes from Psalms 118, verse 8. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. I really wanted to speak on this short verse today because it's just so true. I mean, I see this firsthand in going through this experience. This verse really emphasizes to take refuge in the Lord, not in man. Don't rely on human beings, no matter how powerful or influential they are, no matter what their position is in life. Now, the doctors, they really did save Ken's life. When he went in there, he was a goner. And they did. They saved his life. And I am very grateful for that. But I am telling you, I mean, I hope none of us ever end up in the hospital for a long stay like Ken has had. Because, oh my, it's atrocious in my opinion. It's terrible. These doctors do what they can, and their job is to save you, to help you get better, to do what is necessary. And I appreciate that in these emergency situations. But only God is our rock and our salvation. And as long as we believe in Him and trust in Him, He is there for us. I don't put faith in any doctors at all. My faith remains in one place, and that is with the Lord and the Lord only. He hears my prayers. He knows what's going on. And if you trust the medical system and hospitals and all that, if that's where you place your trust, I would feel sorry for you or anyone that did that, because that's not where miracles are going to happen. That's not where true healing is going to take place. The great physician is our God. He is the great healer. And we can be thankful to surgeons and doctors who do what they can to get us out of a critical situation, but we cannot place them above the Lord. My complete trust and hope is in God and God alone. And I want that for each and every one of you. The doctors performed the life-threatening surgeries for Ken, but God performed the miracles. And it is a miracle that he is still here for all that he has gone through at 80 years old. He'll be 80 in September. So I just want to thank you all for your prayers, and I praise God for the miracles and the healing that he has already given Ken, and he will continue to do. I have every hope that Ken will make it. He will get through this. He will persevere, because hard times just affect our perseverance, and perseverance leads to character. And that's something we have to keep in mind at all times. I thank you so much for being here today. I truly do appreciate it. And until we meet again, this is the old girl signing out. See ya.